Hey everyone, thanks for joining. This is Josh Tutton, and today I'll be covering the topic of dynamic favorites, part two of our interface series of trainings. So this is really all about ELAN Personalization 2.0. We take some of the cool features that we added into 8.3 and we improve on that. We've added the new flyout favorites functionality. And so I'm going to go ahead and cover how to add source favorites to your interfaces today, and then how to add and customize the new flyout favorites. All right, so to get started, we're going to cover the source favorites. This gives you one touch to music or one touch to a favorite TV station option on your interfaces. So we support multiple pages of these one touch to music or one touch to favorite TV channel. We've also added a new icon indicator light here. So if you have a favorite playing, you'll see it's lit up in blue, and then we've also added that new little blue indicator light there. All right, so how do I configure this? Well, you want to start off by opening up your viewer, tapping media, and then selecting a media zone. So I'm going to go ahead and select my living room zone. If I've got something playing in my living room, it's going to display what's happening currently. If I want to add the new source favorites, I need to go down here to my source selection area in my viewer and tap on that. It's going to bring me to my source select page. You can see these are currently the sources available to me in my living room zone. So if I want to add a bunch of favorites, first thing I want to do is click on this little heart icon up here in the upper right corner. And it's going to open up this new box. It's going to say edit favorites. And I'm on my computer, so it's edit favorites for Josh's ThinkPad. I've got one choice, it's add media, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Once I've clicked on that, it's going to bring up all of my favorite TV stations as well as favorite music stations. All I need to do is click next to any of the TV stations or any of my favorite radio stations. It will populate in this box over here. When I've completed it, I click the checkbox and it will save and exit. It will return me to my source selection page. And as you can see, now there are quite a few more options here. So I can do one touch to music, so I can listen to D-Phase radio, or I can click on Discovery Channel HD and it'll tune right to that station. So much quicker than drilling down into individual sources and then either looking through the guide or scrolling through all the different channels. If I want to add more, I can definitely do that. I can go back and add more media favorites. And now I've got multiple pages. And you can see up here next to the heart icon, now there are a back and forth button that has been added as well. And this allows us to scroll through all of our source favorites. Once I've done that, I don't even actually have to go into the individual zones anymore to access my source favorites. I can be in the media zones page and just click on a source icon and it will bring up all my favorites here as well. So as you can see, much quicker to get music playing or channels selected. All right, so the next thing up is custom flyout. This is only available on ELAN touch panels, so flyouts are not available on mobile devices, computers, laptops, only on ELAN touchscreens. So there are a couple things we can do here. We can create user logins for the flyout, so the flyout is actually personalized when an individual logs into it, either via facial recognition or with a 4-digit code. Or I can just set up a general flyout for this individual touch panel. So some of the things that these flyouts support are going to be media favorites, just like we covered. Also lighting, both scenes or individual switches. We can add climate, and we can also add something called a My Action button, which is attached to an event map. And again, these features are only available on the ELAN touch panels. All right, so first things first, we need to make sure that the flyout is enabled on the touchscreen. So to do this, you need to make sure you jump into the configurator and you go to the interface tab. Once I'm in my interface tab, I'm going to want to go find the touch panel. So in this case, I'm going to select my ITP12, click the plus button, go down to where it says flyout settings. Once I've selected flyout settings, it's going to open this properties pane over here. I've got a few choices. The very top one is, do I want to enable the flyout? I want to click yes. And I've got a couple other options I can go through. Audio zone must be active, ignore if on media page, leave screensaver up. I can adjust the proximity sensor timeout, the swipe timeout, and then last but not least, I want to select a default zone. So wherever this touch panel is installed, I want to make sure I select that zone. So here, again, I'm going to select living room, and then I'm going to click apply. All right, so now I've enabled the flyout. So now we can move right back to our touchscreen. And this is where we're able to customize the flyout. So to get the flyout to pop out, you want to take your finger, swipe from the right towards the center of the screen. The flyout will appear. And we have some options again: add media, lighting scene, light switch, event map, climate. One thing to remember, user favorites are global, and local touch panel flyout, if you configure it, it's just whatever you configure on that one panel. That is not global. All right, so when the flyout comes up, here's the two options. If you click on the little settings wheel here, that will configure just the flyout for this particular touch panel. Or if I click on this little person icon, which is what we're going to do, that will allow me to customize the flyout for a particular user. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. It's going to bring up the user login. So again, if you've enabled facial recognition and enrolled your user with facial recognition, that's one way to log in. Or you can use your same 4-digit code you used when creating that user to log in. I'm going to go ahead and type in my 4-digit code and configure the flyout for myself. All right, once I've done that, I click on the settings wheel and I get some options here. I've got add media, add lighting scene, add lighting switch, add an action, and enable climate. So we're going to start at the top here with add media. I click on add media. It looks exactly like the source favorites page that we just went over earlier. So this one here, I'm just going to simply click on any of my TV stations or music stations that I'd like to add. You'll see them pop up over here on the right hand side. And then to save and exit my media, I click on the check mark. All right, so the next up is adding a lighting scene. So adding a lighting scene and adding a lighting switch are pretty much the exact same thing, except this one, you can add a whole bunch of different lighting loads and actually creates a scene. Whereas a light switch is a single switch. So if this was just in the kitchen, you can hit the kitchen light to turn on or off. But we're going to add a lighting scene. So once we do that, there's a few things that it can do versus just a switch, which was on or off. You can actually add the scene and then adjust the lighting load. So I'm going to go over how that's created. When I click add lighting scene, it's going to bring up my available lighting loads, and I want to go ahead and click on the little plus button next to each load that I'd like to participate in the scene. Once I've selected the loads I want in my scene, I go ahead and adjust the brightness. And when I'm happy with the scene that I've created, I'm going to go ahead and down here and click the check to save and exit. All right, next up, we're going to configure the climate. So I'm going to click on Enable Climate. We'll bring up this little box here. And basically what we can do is just add a preferred temperature for this particular user. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust my max temperature and my minimum temperature. And that way when I click on the climate, it will select my preferred temperature range. And last but not least is the My Action button. So this is an event mappable button that you can add, or you can add multiple if you wish. But on this, before you go in and can create the event map, it's important that you go in and add the button first, because if you don't click the Add My Action button, it will not be available in the event mapper to configure. So go ahead and hit the plus button next to My Action, which is right up here, and it'll add a My Action into your flyout. Once I've done that, now I can actually go into my event mapper. So here we want to jump back over to the configurator. We're going to go to event mapper. And in the system family tree, I want to make sure I select interface device. Once I've selected interface device, under the event groups area, I'm going to go ahead and select Josh. That's the user that I'm configuring the flyout for. And then under available events, I'm going to have two options. I can either do a button press or a button release. So you're going to select whichever one you like and then click OK. Once we've got that action button pressed up here, I'm just going to go ahead and simply fill out the commands portion of my event map for whatever I'd like to happen when I press that button on the flyout. So in this instance, I created a goodnight scene. So when I press on that button, my living room light turns off, my door locks lock, my receiver turns off, and my bedroom light turns on to 60%. And that's how you create an event mappable button. And that's it. I'd like to thank you for your time. Thanks for checking it out. Let us know if you have any questions, and I hope you have a good day. Thanks.